Welcome to a journey through the dark side of law enforcement, where officers who betray their oath find themselves behind bars. Today, we are going to discuss the harrowing stories of Daniel Holtzclaw, Jalen Fleer, Stephanie Lazarus, and Tyler Moody, each facing the ironies of justice. Their stories serve as a solemn reminder. Crossing the thin blue line can lead to dire consequences. On June 18, 2014, in Oklahoma City, Daniel Holtzclaw, an officer sworn to protect and serve, instead chose a path of betrayal. Utilizing his position of authority, Holtzclaw transformed routine traffic stops into opportunities for blatant misconduct, committing a series of sexual offenses against women he detained. These actions not only abused his power, but also instilled fear in the very community he was supposed to safeguard. The gravity of his crimes eventually led Holtzclaw to an interrogation room.
So we have no misunderstanding because, and maybe I didn't key in on some things. I want you turn in your activity card, walk me through it all again.
Turn in my activity card, I leave out of station, turn off my computer, done for the night, head left to go westbound on 50th from Prospect. About a block down, I see a Grand Prix in the outside lane. I was in the inside lane. Directly in front of me, car swerved. At that time, I kind of fall behind of it. Lincoln, I didn't want to light it up at the stop sign, so I waited till it go forward and just lit it up just to the west. And then that's when I made the traffic stop.
Where the contrast between his role as a police officer and the accusations against him became painfully evident. Throughout the interrogation, Holtzclaw exhibited signs of nervousness, his demeanor oscillating between attempts at composed denial and visible anxiety. His responses, riddled with inconsistencies and evasiveness, failed to mask the truth of his predatory actions. The turning point in the case came with the presentation of DNA evidence, found inside his patrol car.
They found some pubic hairs right in here. Could they be yours?
No, that's not. I didn't I didn't do anything right there.
Did she?
No.
But do you think they could be?
No, it's not. No. Nothing on mine.
Your pubes couldn't be?
No.
Right there?
No.
You seemed a little extra worried whenever you talked about seeing her boobies. You sure she just didn't flash you?
I can't. She did not flash. I don't want to say I can't recall, but I'm pretty positive she didn't flash.
I see a pair of titties.
She went like this, but nothing as far as I'm going like crazy looking.
Lifting the shirt.
No. This whole situation and
it's kind of scary.
It is scary, and I don't want my rep to be. Everything's about in law enforcement. I don't know, 3 years on. I know that, but everything's about your rep.
Absolutely.
This irrefutable proof linked Holtzclaw directly to his victims, stripping away any remaining bits of doubt about his guilt. The moment the evidence was laid bare, Holtzclaw's fate was sealed, marking a climax in the investigation. Ultimately, Daniel Holtzclaw was found guilty on multiple counts of rape and sexual battery.
Verdict, count 1, battery. Defendant is guilty of the crime of battery and set punishment at 8 years. Count 2, procuring lewd exhibition. Not guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition. Count 3, burglary in the first degree. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of burglary in the first degree, nor lesser included. Count 4, procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition, and punishment is set at 5 years.
Leading to a landmark sentencing of 263 years in prison. This verdict sent shockwaves through the courtroom and beyond, serving as a stern reminder that no one, regardless of their badge, is above the law. The sentence highlighted the severity of Holtzclaw's crimes and the justice system's commitment to holding him accountable. Regarding compensation, while the court's decision brought a measure of justice to the victims, the case also raised questions about the broader implications for trust in law enforcement and the measures necessary to prevent such abuses of power in the future. The victims' courage in coming forward played a crucial role in bringing Holtzclaw to justice. Through the emotional and psychological scars borne by them, highlight the complex process of healing and the need for ongoing support and acknowledgement from the community and the justice system alike. As Holtzclaw's career collapses under the weight of his crimes, next we turn to Jalen Fleer, whose own misdeeds paint a grim picture of deception and betrayal. In April 2020, the sunny facade of San Diego was overshadowed by the disturbing actions of Officer Jalen Fleer. Following a tip-off about his inappropriate conduct with a minor, a thorough investigation was launched that would ultimately reveal a disconcerting breach of trust by an individual sworn to uphold the law. The turning point in Fleer's case came during an intense interrogation session.
You'll ask what this is about?
Yeah, so we're looking into some allegations that were made. We're kind of, it started with a Crime Stopper report, so we're just kind of going from there.
Detectives, armed with irrefutable photo evidence, confronted Fleer.
We did receive a picture that, when we looked into it, it looks similar to you, so I don't know if you can take a look at the picture and just tell me if you've seen this picture before.
The photograph, showing Fleer in an inappropriate encounter with the minor, was discreetly passed across the surface of the table in the interrogation room. Upon seeing the image, the reality of his situation began to dawn on Fleer. His initial reaction was one of shock, followed by a reluctant admission. "That's definitely me," he acknowledged, his voice barely above a whisper, his career and credibility crumbling in real time. Fleer's admission in the interrogation room was a critical moment, sealing his fate. He faced 20 felony charges, including engaging in lewd acts with children under 14, pandering to children under 16, and having unlawful interactions with a child under 16. This array of serious charges reflected the gravity of his offenses and led to his sentencing to 12 years in prison, a stark downfall for a law enforcement officer. The sentencing was a blue chapter for all involved, marking a significant fall from grace for Fleer and a moment of retribution for the justice system's role in protecting the vulnerable. His conviction sent a powerful message about the consequences of abusing a position of power, particularly against minors. In terms of restitution, while the specifics of any financial compensation to the victims were not publicly disclosed, the emotional and psychological impact on the victims and their families was profound. Statements from the families, though kept private, expressed a mix of relief at the justice served and ongoing grief for the trauma endured. These cases often result in a complex aftermath, where legal justice meets the need for healing and closure among the victims and their communities. From Fleer's downfall to a cold case that heats up decades later, Stephanie Lazarus finds that the past can indeed come back to haunt. Stephanie Lazarus was once a praised detective with the Los Angeles Police Department, known for her sharp investigative skills and ability to crack difficult cases. However, her distinguished career took a dramatic turn when advanced DNA technology reopened a 1986 cold case, the murder of Sherry Rasmussen, which unexpectedly placed Lazarus at the center of the investigation. Decades after the murder, a routine review of unsolved cases brought Lazarus's own DNA into the spotlight, linking her to forensic evidence found at the crime scene. The breakthrough came when saliva recovered from a bite mark on the victim matched Lazarus's DNA, a finding that irrevocably connected her to the crime she was once tasked with investigating. The interrogation of Lazarus was as dramatic as it was ironic. Brought into the room under the guise of discussing an old case, Lazarus was unaware that she was the main subject.
Are you guys friends, close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends.
Yeah?
I mean, what's this all about?
It's a case we're working on. It involves John, and in there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, we were good friends. Lived in the dorms for 2 years.
Was there ever any relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we dated. You know, I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's relating to his wife.
As the detectives laid out the evidence, the color drained from Lazarus's face. Her composed demeanor shattered as the reality of her situation sank in.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, you know, I got a problem with that.
Okay.
Okay? So, you know, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, you know, now you're accusing me of this? Is that what you're saying?
Obviously, you know about all the DNA stuff and things of the nature that, you know, gets done on cases nowadays. You know, if we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
Maybe. Because now
because
I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Her initial shock turned into defensiveness as she struggled to maintain her innocence against the overwhelming DNA evidence presented before her. in a courtroom filled with tension and disbelief.
The jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Stephanie Eileen Lazarus, guilty of the crime of murder of Sherry Rasmussen. We further find the murder was of the first degree.
Lazarus was convicted and sentenced to 27 years in prison. The sentence was a reversal of roles for the former detective who had spent her career on the other side of the law. The judge's gavel sealed her fate, marking the end of a long and twisted path from detective to defendant. The victim's family, who had waited over 3 decades for closure, expressed a mixture of relief and sorrow following the verdict. While no amount of justice could compensate for the loss of Sherry, the conviction provided them with a sense of finality and vindication. Their statements to the media echoed a relief that justice, though delayed, was ultimately served. While Lazarus faces the music for a crime long buried, Tyler Moody's story reminds us that corruption can lurk even among those who guard the gates.
Have you offered your resignation or not?
I can keep my job and not.
Well, you can't keep your job, okay?
Tyler Moody, a correctional officer once tasked with maintaining order and security within prison walls, found himself on the wrong side of the law due to his involvement in contraband distribution. His downfall began with a seemingly minor oversight, but had serious implications for his career and freedom.
Every citizen that we have the privilege to serve, and you've betrayed the trust of the brave and selfless men and women that you've worked alongside for nearly 3 years. So as of this moment, you're under arrest for bringing a prohibited item, a cell phone, into a correctional facility. That's a 3rd-degree felony.
The disclosure of Moody's misconduct started when a routine search found a mobile phone and charger hidden in an inmate's cell, an area under his direct supervision. This discovery prompted an immediate investigation, leading to Moody's interrogation. Faced with undeniable evidence, Moody was surprisingly forthright during the interrogation. He confessed to smuggling contraband into the prison, a confession that he likely thought might mitigate his punishment. However, the legal consequences for his actions were more severe than he anticipated. Tyler Moody was charged with a 3rd-degree felony for providing contraband to inmates, an offense that carries significant weight. Despite his cooperation and confession, he was sentenced to 1 year in the very institution he once governed. Moody's case serves as a reminder of the critical importance of integrity in law enforcement. His breach of trust not only cost him his career, but also his freedom, illustrating the severe repercussions that follow from compromising legal and ethical standards. This incident highlights the broader implications for correctional officers and all law enforcement personnel. The responsibility to uphold the law extends to themselves, not just to those they oversee. For others in his field, Moody's downfall is a stark reminder of the boundaries that should never be crossed, and the ultimate accountability to the laws they are sworn to uphold. His story is used in training and ethics discussions as a clear example of the risks associated with bending the rules, no matter the justification.